Hey Legionnaires, and welcome back to Dawnless Days Total War, the mod for Attila Total War. And we're doing another one of these unit overviews, which does cover the Woodland Realm today. If you hadn't guessed from what you can see on your screen, it's a glorious Woodland Realm with their amazing armor. One of the best looking Elven factions around, in my opinion. And yeah, they were one of the best Elven factions, I'd say, till maybe Lothlorien took that crown from them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is that your opinion? Do you think Lothlorien's the best Elven faction? Maybe you think Woodland Realm. I would be interested to see. But yes, in these unit overviews, if you've never seen them before, we kind of cover every category of a roster. So the Woodland Realm one, as you may be aware, isn't the biggest at the moment. I don't know if it's going to get bigger. I haven't checked the Trello in a while. Yeah, so I'll hold my hands up there. I'm guilty of that. But yeah, so we obviously go through like swords first, and spears, shock, and like archers and cavalry, and kind of go over from like worst to best of each category. So first, we'll be starting with swords, and I'm going to slap shock with that because, well, they both are pretty small categories for the Elves of the Woodland Realm. But yes, I'm doing this unit overview because I don't have many Dawnless Days replays at the moment. So with this new like update that came and patch for Attila, kind of corrupted all my replays. So if you've got any Dawnless Days replays and you think, Pope, you need to check this out, it's an amazing siege battle or an amazing land battle or scenario, feel free to send it into my Discord. The link is down below in the description, as always. So yeah, definitely do that if you can, because I need more sieges, because you guys love them. So yes, until then, I'll be doing a few of these unit overviews and like top 5, like the land battles and things like that, or top 5 units, top 5 arch units maybe, or something like that. It's like some like different sort of style videos for Dawnless Days. But yes, so we'll get straight into this first category, which will be swords. So yes, here we are with the first category, the swords and shock, and I'm very much looking forward to checking these sexy ass elves out. These are the Last Garland blades. They are like your bread and butter, are the Last Garland units in the Woodland Realm army. You're probably going to see these quite a lot if you face the Woodland Realm or play with them yourself. Yeah, the Last Garland blades are the only sword unit for the Woodland Realm. They are a very heavy melee infantry unit. They have, as you can see there, all green. I mean, they say they're trained, but I'm pretty sure these guys are pretty much elite. They hold for a long time. I mean, there's a 100-man, or 100 elf, I should say, unit. And yeah, they'll definitely go and fight. If the general's alive and, you know, army's healthy, they'll fight to sub 10, like men, or elves, I should say. And before they break, they really do. But yeah, all greens there. Excellent melee defense. I mean, it's 52, means they'll hold for a long time. That probably goes up even with when you put them in shield wall. Excellent melee attack of 44, melee damage of 36. It's not too bad. That's pretty standard for like, you know, the elven blade sort of like units, people that, like the sword units. And then 20 charge punch. Yeah, not a great charge. It's not a shock unit. You don't expect that. Armor of 55. It's pretty, yeah, it's average as it says there. I think Gondor swords maybe have more. Obviously, dwarves have more. But yeah, the elves have some pretty decent armor. Definitely more armored than like your orcs and your and some of your like lesser mannish factions as well. They're definitely better armored than them. And they'll carve through hundreds of orcs. These guys, if they do well, they don't get harassed by archers or just take on a superior unit. These guys will get 100, 200 kills quite easily. They do farm kills. A health 115, that's a standard for the Woodland Realm elves. Might be for all elves, to be honest. I can't remember. Speed 36, they are pretty speedy. That's a good thing with the elves. You don't have much cav, but you know, your units are pretty fast. So that's not too bad. Morale, it's saying 59, that's with all the bonuses. It's 48 is their base. That's not too bad. Like I said, they'll hold for a long time. Probably sub 10 elves in a battle. And it's good for if you're in a siege battle and you like got, I don't know, 9 elves left holding on to a choke point as you're trying to retreat or maybe just trying to slow down the enemy. Those 9 elves, you never know, they could do enough to just give you that extra minute or so, or like half a minute, just to change the battle or reinforce an area of a siege battle. And missile block is at 35 as well. So yeah, it's not too bad, to be honest. That's like, you know, they're blocking 1 in 3 arrows, a bit more than that really. So yeah, they're pretty damn good. So yeah, that is the Last Garland blades, the only sword unit available. I mean, they do look awesome as well. I mean, we'll put the shader on quickly, and we'll see what it's like. Oh, it looks beautiful. Yeah, that does look good, actually. Just make them look just amazing. Beautiful, beautiful unit. I do love them. I mean, they are probably one of the I think they're the oldest Elven unit, like Elven faction. I think Woodland Realm. It's years since they came out. I remember, like, I think my channel was like maybe a year old. I think we were like in the second year of it. I remember these guys coming out. I was like, oh my gosh, the elves. We have elves. I think they were. I think Linden and Nimladris came after Woodland Realm. So yeah, I mean the Last Garland units have been around for a long, long time. So these are an old favourite, really, of mine. I do love the armor and just everything about them. They look great. The officer unit as well looks amazing. Yeah, we'll move on anyway to the next unit. Oh, I mean we can have the shader on. Why not? Oh, look at it, beautiful. The rank upon rank there of elves looks great. But yeah, we'll go on to the next unit, which is the other sort of like melee unit I've sort of thrown in with this unit is the shock infantry. This is the Forest Sentinels. They're quite a new unit actually. So the Woodland Realm got about four, maybe five new units. I think it's 4. I might be wrong, and I might be correcting myself later on. But 4 new units. Forest Sentinels being one. It's a shock unit that's been added, and that's actually quite cool. I do like that they got a shock unit. I think the Woodland Realm, kind of lacks something a little bit in aggressiveness. They have the swords, which are pretty good, but they haven't got anything like super aggressive. They have a lot of spears, some swords. Their archers, obviously, you can try and be aggressive, but yeah, having the Forest Sentinels, I feel like just adds another like dimension to their game. Playing them, they are a light shock infantry unit, so you've got to keep these guys protected because they have low armor, only 30 armor. So yeah, about 25 less than the Last Garland blades. And they have missile block chance 0. So yeah, I mean for a light shock infantry unit, having 30 armor and a very heavy has 55. I think something's a bit wrong there. Either the Last Garland blades need to have more armor, or these guys need to have less. One or the other, because for a 25-point difference, and one is at one end of the scale like light, and the other is very heavy. That's a bit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I maybe up the Last Garland blades maybe a bit. Health 115 though. Is, yeah, like I said, standard. Morale is at 43. So, I mean, again, these guys will hold for a long time. Maybe not as low as, like, sub 10, because they're a 120 elf unit. Well, I don't know why. Man unit is fine to say. Probably is less confusing. But yeah, they probably will fight to, like, I don't know, 40 or so then before they rout. They are pretty, like I said, missile block with this new update, which isn't that new, to be honest. It's been a little while since it's been out. Means that archers and like absolutely focused down things like shock, polearms, other archers, cav as well. Some cav also is kind of vulnerable to archers. That's been a thing for a while though. But yeah, they are very vulnerable to archers. Is what I'm trying to get at. Speed though, 41. These guys are speedy. They get around the map, which is great. I mean, if you hide them in a forest, I feel like these guys could do well. And their axes look like they'd be pretty good at chopping wood anyway. But yeah, they have 43 melee attack. 39 damage. They are a little bit better than the swordsman with their melee damage, which is no surprise. Charge is 25. I'm surprised it's not a little higher being a shock unit, but there you go. Melee defense 28. Yeah, they're not going to be great at defending themselves because they just have an axe. But yeah, they are pretty cool. I do like them. But yeah, it's a really, really cool unit. And they are all of the melee units. There you go. We'll go through the melee category. I guess it's what we're going to call it today. So just the 2 units. So we'll move swiftly onto the spears. So here we are with the spears, and this is another new unit that has been added in like the most recent update for Dawnless Days. I think it was the most recent. I think it was either that one or the one before. The Woodland Realm got, like I said, 4 new units, and this is the new spear unit that got added, or one of the new spear units. There actually are 2. So this is the first that I'll be showing off here. It's the weakest of the spear units. It's a medium spear infantry. Not a very heavy, like most things are for the Woodland Realm. It's the Forest Spears. I don't see these guys getting brought very often. So much so I had forgotten their name. So yeah, you don't often see them being brought. Maybe in a low, like, money sort of siege battle, you might see them being brought, I guess, instead of like Last Garland Spears. You might see them being brought, or maybe as like a supplement. Like I said, in defense, if you're defending in a siege, you might think, I'll bring some of these spears to sort of support. So yeah, that's certainly something that I might do. If I like had a bit of money left, I'd bring these guys instead of maybe like a Last Garland spear. But yeah, they have excellent melee defense, 56. It is pretty good, to be fair. For like a medium spear infantry unit, that is pretty solid, but they are medium elf spear infantry, you've got to remember. Very poor armor at 30, so they've got the same armor as that shock infantry, which is actually a bit worrying, but they are kind of wearing the same style of armor. I guess that makes sense in a way as having the same armor as the Sentinels. Morale as well is at 43. That's yeah, basically the same as what the Sentinels have. So they kind of like, it shows sort of like the levels are going for. They are all trained, these units. They probably, these lower tier units probably do count as trained. They're not like elite trained like the Last Garland blades are for some strange reason. Missile block is at 22. Still not that great for a spear unit, to be honest. Spears are kind of renowned, you know, for soaking up ammo. Put them in a shield wall, they'll soak up their ammo. They'll take a bit of time to wear down. Speed 39, still pretty speedy for a spear unit though. Melee attack 28, yeah, nothing exciting there. 27, which is the standard for a spear for like the elves. Charge bonus 15, it's not going to be great. And that standard 115 health as well. But I do kind of like them. They do kind of look cool. They give me a bit of a Germanic Saxon sort of like vibe with that shield. I don't know what it is. It just kind of looks like it's straight out of vanilla like Attila, and it's kind of just got that sort of that rework a little bit. But it gives me that sort of vibe. But they do look cool. I do like this unit. I'd like to say maybe a bit more in actions, and maybe I'll have to try it myself in a few sieges or a land battle, maybe supporting my Elven King Cav or something like that, and see how like what they can do. It'd be interesting to see. But yeah, they are the forest spears. They're pretty decent. But we'll move on to the next unit, which is again, it's back to that bread and butter. You know, it's the spine of the army. It's the Last Garland units, and these are the Last Garland spears. Pretty similar in look to the Last Garland swords. Difference is they have a spear. Again, all greens as well. Again, I don't know how these units are classed as trained. I'm pretty sure they should really be elite. Like elves, the Woodland Realm elves are just so good. They have great morale, health and armor as well combined. Makes them really harder units and tough to kill. Often in like when we do like orcs versus like Woodland Realm and like battles and stuff like that, like the orcs just take forever to cut through these guys if they even do. They've seen so many more numbers, which is obviously like kind of like canonically how it went. Like the elves had smaller numbers, but they were well trained and well armored, and the orcs weren't. So anyway, Last Garland spears, excellent melee defense again, 60. So going up, you know, not much more up though than the forest spears, to be fair. Charge bonus at 15. So, yeah, again, pretty low. No surprise there. Melee damage 27. That's pretty standard. We are a little bit up, though, on that melee attack 36. You know, they do a little bit more damage. Morale is going to be 48. Again, we're about 5 points up on what we were. So, again, these guys usually hold to about, kind of hold to sub 10. Sometimes I have seen it happen. But yeah, I'd say around like the mid to low teens. I've seen these guys hold to. If, like, obviously the right variables are there. They have to have, like, general supporting and healthy army numbers. Missile block at 35. So again, we're not really much better off than the forest spears, and you're paying a bit more money. So you get like 1 in every 3 arrows you're blocking. And maybe that goes up in a shield wall. I don't know if shield wall in Dawnless Days does increase missile block. I can't remember. A really good attribute though that this faction has. Again, also excellent melee defense 60. I don't know if I mentioned that. But another really good attribute for this this unit is the square formation it can do down here. It can form square, which is obviously great for like against cavalry and defending against like things like mummoks as well, beasts it says, but it'll be like mummoks and trolls. It can't move obviously in that formation, but that's fine. But it's also, I think, quite good to have if you're wanting a rear guard unit, because the Woodland Realm, if you are aware of Dawnless Days, you played it a bit, doesn't have much cav. So yeah, you're kind of screwed if Cav gets in behind you. If you're doing a 1v1 and you're playing against, I don't know, Rohan, who has a lot of Cav, or Dale, who also can bring quite a bit of Cav to the game. So if Cav gets in behind you, your Elven King can't deal with every single one. It's the only Cav you get. So you need some other stuff that can protect your rear lines. As your swords are fighting in the front, have these guys in the back. It's a very good, it's a potential idea you could do to try and help block up and sort of defend your archers and defend your swords from being rear charged, which can be devastating. And like inferior infantry will screw over the Last Garland blades if they've been rear charged, because it does so much HP damage and does kill quite a lot. Cav is king in Attila and also in most Attila mods like 12-12 and Dawnless Days. So having these guys form square, actually, you know, and have them in your armies could be pretty useful. So yeah, the Last Garland spears, I feel like some people pull their nose up at spears sometimes, but you know, elven spears I think are, you know, next level. They can be useful, and certainly in the case of obviously the Last Garland spears, can form square. But anyway, I'll finish wittering on about the Last Garland spears. We'll move on to the most elite spear unit, and also the one of the newer units as well. And this is the Gate Wardens. They look very similar to the next unit I'm going to show off. I won't name them yet. But instead they have a spear and a shield. I don't know if I really like them having the Last Garland sort of like same like shield. I feel like keep the style. I like the style, but maybe make it green. Why not green? Match the armor, something like that. Maybe that would look wrong. I don't know. I'd like to see it maybe, and then we could go. No, I actually don't like that. Change it back, sort of thing. But I don't know. Maybe just to go with the uniformity. Maybe make it green. Who knows? They are an elite infantry unit. It's the first elite unit we've seen, though I'm pretty sure the Last Garland ones could be counted as elite, really. But they have excellent melee defense, excellent melee attack, good armor, all greens, as it should be with the elves. And it matches their armor as well, all green. But yes, melee attack 43. It comes into that category of an aggressive spear unit. Very, very good. Very similar to the Citadel Guard. And I can't remember for the life of me how to say their name, but the spear unit that Umbar has in the Last Breath as well is very, very aggressive. And also the Avari Warriors for Dorwinion, which, is, to be fair, is another Elven unit. Yeah, really good high melee attack spears. Comes into that sort of very elite group to the Gate Wardens here, and they are amazing. I do love using this unit. I've actually used it a few times in a few sieges and thought, you know what, I might have to try and use these guys a bit more. But yeah, melee damage still at 27. They are using the same spear as all the other spear units, so they aren't getting any bonuses there, really. But and same with charge bonus, 15. But yeah, melee defense as well, 69. It's a funny number, and yeah, they hold for a long time. Again, being an elite unit with its high melee defense, put them in the choke point at the last stand. If there's 5 minutes left, these guys will hold for you and do that job, hold and maybe secure the victory if it come down to time. Or you could throw them in to hold back a horde of enemies in a choke point as the rest of your army and your allies are retreating to maybe a better defensive position. You could throw these guys in because their morale's amazing as well. It says 68 with all the bonuses, but 57. Again, these guys are holding for like probably sub 10. I mean, it's an 85-man unit, so you should really be like this unit holds to probably like 8. I don't know, 5 to 8 men left. It really does. Before they break. As long as obviously you have the right variables, like no general dead and healthy army numbers, they'll probably do that. Speed 36, still pretty speedy. And again, still 35 missile block chance. I feel like with that big shield, they should probably have a better armor. Like their armor is 60. They should probably have a better missile block chance, but maybe not. Also being elite, they have better health, which just makes them harder to kill. 125 instead of 115 to get 10 extra. So yeah, there you go. There are the Gate Wardens, one of the newer and now the most elite spear unit in the Wooden Realm roster. The final unit I'm putting in this sort of category is spears and polearms is the Hall Guardians, like the other like the brother, I guess, of the Gate Wardens. They do look awesome. The original unit, they came before the Gate Wardens. So yeah, the Hall Guardians. You see them in the Hobbit movie, I'm pretty sure, like sort of guarding the like the dwarves when they're prisoners in the Wooden Realm. They are kind of cool. They're a heavy polearm infantry unit. Again, elite. So yeah, these guys hold for sub 10 easily. I've seen them do it before. They used to be really like absolute army killers. You fear seeing these guys in battle. They kind of nerfed them a bit. I think maybe some of their stats got altered. I don't know. I never really compared them. But also they have been nerfed obviously with the missile block chance now being at 0. Polearms, pikes, archers, like I was saying, and shock have all lost that sort of missile block chance if they had any to start with. So yeah, it's a big fat donut for them there. So they do get focused down, even though they have some pretty good armor at 60 and health at 125. So they have the same armor and health as the spears. Speed 37. They're actually still pretty quick. You probably need to take them out of phalanx to get that speed bonus. I don't know. Morale is at 57. So again, they're going to hold, like I said, sub 10. Melee defense 41, melee attack 52, so they're actually better as an aggressive unit. Melee damage at 28, so they have a bit more actual damage to the spear, which I guess maybe makes sense. Yeah, it's a bit more like an axe come spear, just kind of makes sense. So yeah, there are the Hall Guardians, a really cool unit. I do love them. Let's put the reshade on them. Oh, I do kind of like the look of these guys. I don't know, the reshade is kind of pretty. Maybe needs a bit of altering, but I do like it. It does kind of work well with these guys. But yeah, there are the spears and the polearms. I hope you did enjoy listening and maybe learn a bit more about them and maybe give you some ideas on some new strategies. But we'll move on to the Wooden Realms, sort of like creme de la creme, what they're known for, their bows. So here we are with the bows. So we have the forest archers here. as the first unit, as you might be able to see, they are also a new unit. They kind of follow that same similar sort of like armor scheme that you saw with the forest spears with the forest sentinels. So yeah, so this is the cheapest bow unit you can now get as the Wooden Realm. It's one of the, like I said, one of the new units that got added. So they decided to put in another low tier, a bit more of a cost-effective arch unit for the Wooden Realm, which I feel like the player base kind of felt like they needed a little bit because they were spending a lot of money on something that the Woodland Realm should be pretty good in. And it is an okay unit. It's probably would beat quite a few arch units in a like an Archer v Archer sort of combat, whether that's melee or whether that's in a, like dueling across the battlefield, shooting each other. I mean, certainly their range. I mean, 225. That's a standard range for the Wooden Realm. I think the only thing that surpasses that now is, like I said, Lothlorien, which I think has kind of like, you know, taken on like the top dog, like top elven dog sort of like a position, really. I mean, like I said, give me your opinion. I'd be interested to see whether you think differently. But yeah, I mean, they're okay unit. They've got all reds though, so it's not a good sign. Very poor armor, poor melee defense, poor missile block. I mean, they're not going to have great missile block. No archer unit does these days, as I was saying with that new update. Big fat donut there, but they have health 115. You know, can take a few shots if they need to. Armor at 30, not great to be honest. It's the same as the sentinels and the spears. They kind of just went for the stand. They just seem to go for a standard with this sort of like armor layout. Actually, 13. It's not great really for an elven unit. Would have thought higher. You know, elves, you know, they've got good eyes. They can see for a long way. They can shoot enemies, you'd have thought, but no, apparently not. Not with this unit. Ammunition at 16. Morale, it's saying 43 with all the bonuses, but it's actually 32. That's pretty good for a bow unit, like a low-tier bow unit. It's better than most, like low-tier bow units for most factions. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the melee attack 23, damage 25, which is a standard, I think, for all the like the sword, like bows when they get their swords out, and melee defense 24. So yeah, they're not really obviously built for melee, but I guess if you throw them in, they might do something, but not much probably. They are a light bow. They are going to probably get sliced and diced. But yeah, there you go. There are the Forest Archers. So it's the new cheap unit that you can get for the bows. But the next unit is back to bread and butter. You know, we're wearing that stem, that spine again. Sorry, it's the Last Garland Arches. Oh, just their sexy ass armor. Look at them, beautiful. They really are. They really are beautiful. Maybe we should just review them like this. You know, we'll do that instead. Look at that in the bright colours there. Last Garland. Oh no, we can't do that. We can't do that because then we can't read the stats. Last Garland Archers, heavy bow infantry, trained, could be elite. Well, maybe not. Maybe not so much the archers. I think certainly the swords definitely could be in that elite tier. Maybe the spears as well. But yeah, melee attack, we're up to 34. We've gone up a little bit, but that melee damage is still at 25. Melee defense is at 33. We've gone up a little bit there as well. Armor at 55. It's that standard Last Garland Archer sort of, you know, armor. Health at 115. Again, standard. Ammunition 16 still. Same with range as well at 225. But we are up to 24 accuracy now. So we've gone up about, well, nearly double what we had before, which is still, I'm kind of surprised it's still as low. That's like a 1 in 4 nearly, on like arrows are hitting their target. That's kind of low, you would have thought, for an elf, really. Thought it'd be more like 1 in 3 at a minimum. Really probably should be higher, like the elves, you know, they train for hundreds of years in the art of bow and blade. And only, I know it's for balancing, but you know, accuracy wise, yeah, 24 is a bit poor really from the elves. But yeah, morale 47, but it's going to be higher than that. It's more like 36. It's a little bit higher. And I personally think when these guys run out of ammo, if they burnt through their ammo and they've killed a lot of enemies, you hopefully get like plus 100, maybe 200 of these guys. Then throwing these guys into like late game into melee, they'll do okay. They'll do a shift. They are heavy bow infantry. They got some decent armor. They can take some hits. So yeah, I mean, as an opponent, if you're playing like, I don't know, the Orcs or Dogaldor, and you're seeing these, you got your battered army, and you're then seeing these guys being sent in, you're like, oh god, we've still got to fight more elves, because they are pretty good. They're nearly, I would say, as good as like hybrid infantry. I wouldn't say they are, but they are pretty good in melee, so they'll do a job if they need to. So that's the Last Garland Archers. This is what you usually see being brought by most Woodland Realm players, I'd say. It's like like I said, the standard archer that seems to get brought. The next unit you definitely don't see often being brought. I'd say gets brought a bit more often than the Forest Archers, because I never see them being brought, but it definitely does not get brought. It's very uncommon to see it. And that is the Forest Rangers. This originally was the cheapest unit. They've now, I think, made it slightly more expensive than the Last Garland Archers. now. So with the Forest Rangers, they're very poor missile block. They have that fat donut like everyone else, but good melee defense and average accuracy. They're at 30, so now they are hitting 1 in 3. But yeah, they have pretty good health as well. Weirdly have 123, which is nearly as much as an elite, like infantry, like an elite spear or polearm. Very strange number that they chose on as well. I won't question it. But yeah, like most range units, like Athelian Rangers, and I think Dorwinian has like Athala Rangers, and like one of the submods for Dorwinian. And then there's like Nimrodel Rangers as well for Dol Amroth, I remember in Lost Factions. But like all those Rangers, like those factions of Rangers, they all are really good at melee because they're kind of like this hybrid sort of unit that they can, like if they need to, they fire at long range, and if they need to get close in range, you know, fighting in the forest or wherever they are, they can do so. But yeah, they have melee attack 44, pretty damn good. 36 melee damage, better than the other bow units we've seen that have come before. They're at the same level as Last Garland Blades, I'm pretty sure, with their melee damage there. Melee defense at 42, so they can hold the ground if they need to. Armor at 30, not that great, but you know, it's okay. You know, it's the same level as like the forest spears and sentinels. So yeah, they're, you know, okay, and they have more ammunition. They have 18. Same range. I'm surprised as a ranger maybe they didn't have a bit more. And yeah, like I said, accuracy at 30. So I'm surprised I don't see these guys being brought more. They also can go into guerrilla like deployments. So these guys can be deployed ahead of the army. You can put them right in front of the enemy if you wanted to. Or behind the enemy, or to the side, and just try and frustrate the opponent. And they stay hidden as well until you get basically right on top of them. So a really cool unit. I might try and use it a bit more in some, like maybe if you're playing on a map with a lot of wood, maybe you're able to try and position them there. It could be quite useful units to use. And if you get them in a rear charge with those melee stats, they might actually make a difference. You never know. But they are very light bow infantry, so they are vulnerable, obviously, to getting charged by cav. They'll get like mauled by an infantry. If they get charged by infantry, they'll maul the forest rangers. The rangers would have to rely on getting a charge off themselves rather than being charged. And again, also like getting shot at by archers. I'm sure they get kind of decimated being very light bow infantry. But yeah, I definitely might have to try these guys out a little bit more. Definitely. So yeah, those are the rangers, the forest rangers. They are pretty cool. But here is the final and most elite bow unit that is available to the Woodland Realm. It is the Laws of Last Garland. And these guys look awesome as well. We've kind of gotten a bit more of a bronzy sort of like armor we've gone for instead of the gold. You know, when you've moved on from gold and you've gone to a different color, you know, they're an elite unit. Same with like the green for like the Hall Guardians. You know, you're at a different level. And these are elite. These are the elite bow infantry that you can get heavy bow infantry again. Excellent melee defense, average accuracy, very poor missile block. Unfortunately, yes, like every bow unit has. But yeah, these guys are probably out-and-out hybrid units. They don't have like a shield to protect themselves, but like some of the hybrid units in Dawnless Days. I definitely count them up there as a hybrid unit. I mean, melee attack 52. You basically got better melee stats here than the Woodland Realm's swords do, the Last Garland Blades. It's insane. Melee damage at 36. That's the same as what the Last Garland Blades have. 50 melee defense. That's, again, just better than what... nearly better than what the Last Garland Blades have, I'm pretty sure. It's insane. Armor at 60. Health at 125. So we're up in both of those categories as well in the Last Garland Blades. So yeah, these guys are super, super good. Missile block is unfortunately 0. So they do get shot at. They will die. Morale is at 68 with all those bonuses, but base is 57. Again, these guys will fight probably to sub 10 men in a unit, and also when you're shooting at them, they'll probably rally and carry on fighting, even like sub 10. They're insane. Ammunition is back to 16. Range at 225. I thought they might be higher, 250 being elite, but they're not. Accuracy at 32, so only slightly better. Again, still only for an elite unit. It's a 1 in 3. Maybe I would have put it maybe more like 35, 36, just to get a little bit better, you know. But they are very expensive, so I would have thought, you know, you get bang for your buck, but maybe not. But yeah, this is the Laws of Last Garland. I do like them. They're capped at 3, and you often see these guys being brought as well by players when Woodland Realm are brought, because once they finish shooting and they're out of ammo, send them into melee again. Like I said, as long as they don't get shot at themselves. They're a really good infantry unit, to be honest. But there are all the bows. We have one final unit to check out before we move on to the army comps. So yes, you know what it is. I'll show it to you in one moment. So here he is, the main man, Thranduil himself. I mean, he's the Elven King. He is the king of the Woodland Realm. He is the only cav unit that you can get for the Woodland Realm as well. Unfortunately, he's not on his on like stags. He is just on a horse. But I kind of prefer him on a horse actually. I don't think the stag models are very good, but it's just an amazing looking unit. Thranduil has not changed. So they have changed this unit over the time. They've nerfed it. They've reskinned it as well. Where they put golden trim onto this armor. It makes it look much nicer, I think. Much, much nicer. It just adds another level of depth. And you know, when, like I said, when most of your mainline units are in gold, and you see like a unit in another color that's not gold, you know it's elite. These guys are elite. I mean, they are very heavy command. So you can bring this as a general along with the Last Garland, the Wardens, that's Dwarves of Variable, the Hall Guardians, and the Gate Wardens is what I was meant to say, not the Tomb Wardens, the Gate Wardens. You can bring all those as generals, various different ones. But yeah, the Elven King, I quite like to bring as a command, because then you don't have to risk your general's life. You can just send this cav unit very aggressively into armies. Used to be even better when it didn't get nerfed. It used to be an insane cav unit. It was a melee cav unit that charged just as well. Same like the Servants of the Eye. But they've both been nerfed really on their charge. I mean, 50 they have now. But yeah, all green on all their things there. Melee attack 52, melee defense 60. So that's often the case with melee cav. The longer it's in melee with that melee defense, the better it does. Armor at 60, health 215, which I think contributes to both horse and rider. Morale, it's saying 68, but it won't be that high. 52, yes, that's a hold for a long time. This unit basically fights to the last man every time I play with it. I send it in. These guys just, yeah, they just fight to the last man. They're insane. Speed 95, it's a speedy cav unit as well. It really, really is. A missile block 43. It's higher than anything we've seen yet, the Woodland Realm. So it's pretty good at missile block. I often chevron this thing to full as well, so it gets even better stats. But yeah, a solid unit. I do love it. It's probably one of the prettiest cav units in the game. It is for sure. I do really like it. The devs have done good job on that. But there you go. They are all of the units. We'll move now on to the sort of like potential army builds you could go for. So I'll see you guys in a moment. So here we are on the army builder, and as you can see, we used every single unit. It's not many, actually, a whole 11, but it's a very elite and very expensive roster. Apart from the Onager is the only thing I didn't bring, but the Onager doesn't differ in stats, just has a different skin, for the crews. So yeah, I don't ever show that off. But yeah, apart from that, we have looked at every single unit there in the unit overview. So we'll now look at some army builds that we could maybe do. We'll start with land battles. I usually, when I do streams and just do battles casually, often is about 17,500. We usually limit it at. I usually always bring Warcry as well. I think Warcry is probably the best of these abilities you can bring. Just an added little bonus I'll just throw in there. But yeah, so we'll start with that. So I've often been bringing the Gate Warden as a general. You can kind of again, another unit can form square. I don't think I actually mentioned that when we were looking at the unit overview. So it's quite useful. It doesn't get rear charged. You can just put it in square, so you don't have to worry about your general being rear charged there. If it ever came to that sort of getting surrounded issue, that means I can be a bit more aggressive with the Elven King. I always quite like to do that. In a land battle, I think if I can be a bit more aggressive with him and throw him about, maybe send him into a 2v1 in a cav fight, which the Elven King could easily hold up and maybe even win, depending on the cav it's fighting. I then would say about 4 to 5 Last Garland blades. It's a solid front line that can hold for a while. You could stretch it out if you needed to engage multiple units. Might be able to hold them off. I then would probably go with, let's say, you could go with your Lord's Last Garland and then your Last Garland Arches, because like I said, then you could throw the Lord's Last Garland into melee if you wanted to. You could bring another. Usually we go with in my land battles when I do streams. If you watch them, and if you haven't, you should. We usually do 6 of any unit. So that really does mean you could bring 3 Lords of Last Garland. You could then bring 6 of all the other ones because they're not capped. Well, actually the Forest Rangers are, but these ones you could bring 6 of if you wanted to. Just archer spam. But I think 5's a good number. Kind of, leans towards their strengths, which is their archers. With that insane range. You usually are outranging by other elven factions. You're outranging all other factions. Then you've got I have about nearly 2,500 left. So what to bring? Everything is about 1,000, apart from like the shock, and the spears here, which cost a lot more than the archers. Like all these forest units cost a lot more. So it's what do you bring left? I'm thinking I'm going with my idea that I had, which is to bring 2 spears. Spears are pretty good anyway. They'll hold the line. They can't kill most. Like they'll kill like if you're facing orcs or even Dale, like Dale's infantry, you could probably maybe beat these Last Garland spears, or at least hold. If you need to. But I also was just thinking, if you are facing, say, it was Dale, then Dale often can bring a lot of cav for a decent price. So you might need stuff to defend your rear. So these spears could be just that, do just that job. I then would chevron up the Elven King and then maybe my general, I guess, just because I have only enough for one. So why not him? So I mean, the Elven King I'd fully chevron because A, you get a lot of stat boosts, but also he's gonna be. I'm gonna use him aggressively if I can, or he's gonna have to be used to take on multiple cav units. So the better stats he has to take on multiple cav units, the better, to be honest. So yeah, that is possibly a build I would go for for a land battle. Obviously, you guys might be like, nah, Pope, you're doing this wrong. Bring less Lords of Last Garland so you can spend money elsewhere. Bring more Last Garland Archers, or maybe you are a fan of the Rangers. I don't know. Or Shock or something like that. I don't know. Obviously, if you guys have better ideas for a land battle, do let me know what you would build instead. But that's a land battle I'd maybe go for. If we're doing a siege, we won't actually put it on a siege map, but this is the funds I'd use. We usually use about 20,000 for siege. Again, this is if I'm attacking 20,000. I would then probably bring an Elven King Rider as a general, because I'm probably not going to use him that aggressively in the siege, because I've got my infantry going over walls, going through breaches, doing that heavy, hard work in the front lines to start with. This guy can just sit back, relax, maybe deal with a sally out. If they do a sally out, the Elven King has the ability, can probably beat most cav on a one-on-one, and you can support your, hopefully support the sally out with some infantry, and maybe then pull him out to do to combat other cav if they use multiple cav units. And then again, we bring Last Garland Blades. I'm going to say about 5 to 6 this time, because not all these guys are going to get kills. Some of these Last Garland Blades will get like 10 kills or something, because they'll get focused down as they come over the walls or through a choke point. So you're going to need a few more, and you have more money anyway to spend, so why not? I bring the Forest Sentinels. I think the Shock, you know, if it can be protected, could be pretty useful. It's got good melee stats, and Shock's always useful for breaking through like spear lines if they ever show themselves. I also think polearms. I think Hull Guardians for that pushing power with the swords. But also, you're going to need polearms to probably unlock like the defender's defense. Like they're probably going to bring polearms or pikes of their own. So you're going to need some. You're also going to need good archers. So again, I bring Lords of Last Garland. Usually when we play with my rules for sieges, we usually do 4 archers maximum. So like factions like Lothlorien or even Woodland Realm can't spam out archers and just delete armies by just shooting at them before even coming in. So yeah, 4 archers. I probably would bring this combination, just because if they did get shot at in a siege, they can take the hits. I mean, it's not like Forest Rangers can hide and skulk in a siege battle like they can in a land battle. And the Lords of Last Garland, like I said, can be used in melee if they need to, a bit more effectively. And this leaves us with 1,000 actually, 1,025. So we can't really bring a Last Garland Blade. We can't really bring anything else. Maybe we would bring one less Lords of Last Garland, allowing us to bring some more money elsewhere. I mean, that's possible. You could do that and then bring Last Garland Blade, or we could keep to this combination. Oh. That's the combination we had. I was like, where did I go wrong? And then you could just bring another Shock infantry. You could do that, have 4 Shock. So there's a few options there you could do for what you wanted to do. But we'll remove that, and we'll go to 15,000 for defense. Final one, what would I do if I was defending? I'd bring the Gate Warden to start with as a general. I think very useful if it's a last stand. You can throw this guy in. If you've got 5 minutes left, put him in the final stand choke point and just like hold there. And then have the Command Elven King be like as operational as possible. I'd probably have, again, 4 to 5 Last Garland Blades. I'm going off builds that I've done before. I would not even bring Lords of Last Garland. I'd bring my 4 Last Garland Archers. I'd always bring 4. I'm not bringing any less. If there's a limit to how many you can bring of something, I'd bring the maximum. Always. And then I might bring the Shock. I did this last time. The shock actually were pretty useful, especially if you're defending the walls. They'll slice and dice things on those walls. And then again, I'd chevron up the Elven King. He's probably going to be as effective as possible with 2 gold chevrons. I think that's what I go for as a build. It's an okay build. I've done this one before. It did okay, actually. The Last Garland blades often fighting on walls, which is where you want this army to be fighting. You want it fighting on walls if possible, because you're not going to be able to defend all the choke points. It's a small army. Depends on what your allies bring, I guess, as well, and what the opponents you're facing bring. But have this defending on walls, so then you kind of protect yourself from the archers. Have the shock infantry there as well, so they can slice and dice anything that comes off the towers or ladders. And yeah, you should do okay, and hopefully hold the line for quite a while. And your unit should rack up kills, really should. But there you go, guys. That is the unit overview for the Woodland Realm. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope it maybe was informative or enjoyable. Maybe learned some ideas, some tactics, something that you're going to take to the battlefield yourself. Or maybe you're going to be like, no, Pope, you're an absolute noob. You don't know anything about Dawnless Days. Stop doing these unit overviews. Let me know anyway what you think. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. There'll be plenty more Dawnless Days content to come soon when we come back with more sieges. So do send those in. Join the Discord. Send them in if you have got any. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one.